Good morning. Cyrus here. And I'm feeling present. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling serene. A sense of untroubledness. And yeah. The love of my life just left this morning. And off to a silent retreat, and I feel like oftentimes she leaves and then I feel like I'm being abandoned, and I do not feel that today. There's something wrong in this obsession that I have about how someone's got to be with me in physical form all the time, to hyperbolize what's been going on. Yeah, like learning how to just grow in this life. Something that was said last night was essentially like, I'm building with or without you. And that's not to say like, I could take it or leave it. I could take you or leave you. That's just to say that I am on a path and I'm moving on my path. Whether anyone thinks that they recognize the path that I'm on or not. I am moving forward, and so are you, and so is everybody else. And you're either consciously on board or you're not. And yeah, I had some powerful discussions last night. I'm just noticing this. I got my tripod set up and it's kind of tilted just a little bit. I think I started it with as horizontal as I possibly could get it. So anyway, this is all to say, like, how is my relationship with the divine, with the universe, with the universal consciousness, with divine consciousness, with God, with higher power, with the Tsar of the heavens, with Creator, with Jah, with Allah, all of these names, all of these nuts. I had to, I'm sorry. So, because it's so easy for me, especially in relationship, to fixate on like this relationship as if this singular relationship in my life is my higher power. And that's not fair to me, it's not fair to anyone. My higher power is present, it's right here, right now. It's all the objects that I have within my point of view, and it has all of the experiences that all of my ancestors have ever had. It's accumulated through the procreative process for me to be here now. It's my intention. It's eternal. My higher power is eternal. And if I'm trying to make this relationship eternal, or my higher power rather, the thing is, it's not inherently eternal because my body is finite. Although my spirit, my soul, I don't think so much is, but that's where I need to put my focus and my conscious effort. So how do I be right with the infinite rather than right with the finite? Because I'll never be right with the finite because it's always changing. My body is changing right here in this moment. The words that I'm saying are different and they are changing too. Like, everything in this material world is changing all of the time. You know, there's similar change, there's patterns. You know, look at some fractals, watch some Mandelbrot sets and try to swap in, I don't know, like look at a Mandelbrot set and then look at life and infer meaning from both, and how do they relate, how are they different, what kind of insights do I get from one for the other and the other for the, you know what I mean? You could do that, the same thing, you know. It's like, what does everything right here that you see have in common with everything else that exists in this material world? Well, it's material, therefore it's finite, and therefore it's changing. So when I'm in touch with something that isn't changing, because it's everything, always was, is, and will be everything, the all, then it doesn't really matter if I'm feeling down or I'm feeling up. What really matters is if I'm connected. Am I making that conscious contact with something greater than myself? You know, I could be making conscious contact with the people in my life, the people that I love, my family, my friends, my coworkers, my community members, my fellows. I could be making contact with all of these people, but is the underlying motive so that I get to be in contact with my higher power? Like, generally not, because I'm not thinking about, oh, let me send the love of my life a message so that I could be in contact with my higher power. You know, it's very selfish. There's a raven flying over the highway. Just twice today a blackbird has flown at the mention of the referral of my partner. Yeah, so what's the underlying motive? Am I calling this person to get closer to God? Well, am I calling them just to scratch an emotional itch? Or am I calling them to be of service, to help? Hey babe, how's it going? How are you doing? What's going on? How can I help you? Hey babe, versus, you know, hey babe, I need you to send me a message right back because I need to be validated, because if I'm not validated, then I'm not certain that what I believe in is actually the right thing to believe in, and I don't want my world to come crumbling down. So I need you to let me know that this finite nature, this ever-changing nature of me and the universe is, it's going to be all right, that I'm not, you know, it's like the ego speaking, just trying to feed itself. Like, I have a unique ego, has all these labels, plays all these different stage characters. There's the boyfriend, there's the son, the brother, the community member, the worker, you know, all these things. And it's just trying to bolster itself up as if it's more powerful than the infinite, eternal life. And that's why what's been working so well for me lately is, in my mind, I am thinking in my mind, not just letting it go roam free on any whimsical tangent, but I am trying to be here and now, and I have to be deliberate. I'm having a very deliberate conversation internally, not necessarily with myself, but with the universe. You know, and for me, the easy word to use to grant me access, the key to this door of infinite and eternal life, is simply God. God is what works. I grew up, you know, here in Canada. Christianity is pretty prominent. And so I heard the God word enough times for it to be the one that it's the go-to now. I'm not referring to a Christian God, or, I don't know, a Jamaican God, or a Mandarin, orange, a Chinese God. It's just God. You know, it's that thing that's greater than me that grants me access. It's a word that grants me access to what is greater than me and what is present. And I am just this, you know, cog in the wheel. But thank God I'm a cog in this wheel. You know, I have purpose and meaning, you know. I'm like And whether I think I have to try to form myself into another wheel, it doesn't really matter. You know, like, I'm just part of this thing that's spinning. There's like a spiritual clockwork going on that allows us to be alive right here in this moment all the fucking time. Like, there's a perfect equilibrium. I'm getting exactly what I need, you know, physiologically wise, for me to be alive right here, right now, to try to, you know, relate some message to be inspired to talk about a connection to a greater power. Because really, all in all, what I'm trying to say is that when I am deliberately thinking in my mind, okay, Eldon, okay, Cyrus, what's going on? What are you feeling? Are you leaning in on one side or the other? Are you leaning in more emotion or reason right now? Are you grateful for the sun shining? Are you grateful for the opportunity to connect and, you know, get a sweater that's not stinky anymore because I put it in the freezer for a week? Are you grateful for the tobacco that you haven't even lit up? And then, I don't know, it's a lot easier to do it saying words out loud. To think out loud is a lot easier because then I'm actually listening to myself. And I could actually hear what's being said, because when I'm just exclusively thinking, I'm not hearing what's being said. I'm just in it. There's this abysmal pool of, yeah, I don't know, not good things typically. So I have to be so deliberate. And I don't have to be deliberate 24 hours, 7. I just have to be deliberate in the morning, establish that contact. Okay, today is the day that I am living in God's universe, and I am an eternal being in some way. Maybe my body isn't, but I have a soul, I have a spirit that is just continuing on a journey, and it's right now part of the journey is this: navigating the world in this meat sack, navigating meaning in this meat sack. And I get to do that with the tobacco. I just get to be present, I get to be grounded, just get to breathe. Recognize that I'm getting riled up in this recording. I'm having fun. You know, it's fun. I'm expressing. I'm on this journey. I'm on this journey with God, with the people that watch this. And, you know, there's curiosity out there. There's spiritual curiosity, and I am fortunate enough to have gone through some very difficult times that you know, the obstacle in my path was such that I could either live on a spiritual basis or I could die an addict's death. And not all of us are given that ultimatum, but I was, and I'm so glad for it, because I don't know how long I'd live this. Ooh, or even got some food. I don't know how long I'd live this life mindlessly and not deliberately, and not in the sunlight of the spirit, not in this God conscious connection, and not being able to maintain this awareness that things are, you know, there's an eternal journey happening, and there's a very material, finite journey happening. Anyway. I do this thing when I'm on a FaceTime. Especially, I'm only really on FaceTime with my partner. And it's like, I just can't stop looking at myself. That's how fucked up I am. I'm like, who's this guy? I wish that there's an option where I could just not look at myself. Obviously, I could turn the camera around, but I don't know, I find it's useful to be able to see myself, and I could smile, and I am now looking at the problem. But yeah, this isn't for everybody. This is only, like, what I'm saying, what I'm willing to share here, this is only for those that are actually curious about spirituality and living eternal life. And yeah, it does scare me. I do have a fear about what infinity means, because I think of infinity as the symbol. And just infinity is a loop, but then it's not infinity because it just repeats itself. So anyway, I had a concussion when I was 14 skiing, and I hit the back of my head so hard that I was in a loop. I kept repeating the same things. I was kind of present for it, but then I was also kind of not present for it at all. And I was kind of blacked out. I was moving. I was still skiing. I skied to the clinic pretty much. Pretty much. You gotta walk some parts. Yeah, and I'm just remembering before that happened, I had this beautiful buffet dinner with my grandmother. Just like feeling that love. I think she drove my brother and I to Whistler, and we just got to have this really lovely brunch with her. And my grandmother was a very spiritual woman. She knew you could be thinking mindlessly or you could be praying. Those are kind of the only options. You're either in conscious contact with the fact that we are more than what we are, and we're led by something greater than ourselves. My roommate's just driving in, so because that's a good time to wrap it up. But yeah, that loop scared me, and I had other experiences with that loop idea, and everything's changing all the time, and it's a beautiful thing. Peace and love.